how selective picking works. Let me try something. Little latent.
Yeah, and he's got a dog under him. Check it out. There's a dog. There's a dog under Tosin. Sinbad just sleeping in front there.
All right, selective picking. It's kind of a technique that I use to make musical phrases in a different way. And essentially, it's just like dividing my left and right hand to produce notes at different times. A real simple example for you guitar players. If I wanted to play 3 notes, normally I would alternate pick all 3. I'm just playing a D. So selective picking is where I would actually hammer on the note and then pick 2 and 3. So first you hammer,
Yeah.
and then alternate pick.
Okay.
So if you did 3 notes, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2.
Downstroke first.
1 downstroke.
Yeah. So it's just 1 note. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
It's really weird because normally you would just pick all those notes.
Okay.
So
I'm getting live guitar lessons here, everybody.
So if I did octaves,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you can really start doing.
Okay.
Just
I'm gonna watch the
broader
video.
phrases.
I'm gonna watch the video.
Watch the video. Go to my YouTube because I have a lot of exercises that are designed specifically to explore this technique in a musical context. So there's like these etudes, but yeah, it's fun and it's a little different because like at this point, guitar has been around for decades upon decades, and there's been so many iconic players and styles. It's hard to not just sound like your favorite guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's hard to not feel like the tools you're working with are essentially the same ones that have existed for a really long time. So I really like techniques that push my writing in a different direction. It could literally be like sweeping or tapping or whatever, but it's because of that technique you get like some different musical results.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people look at those techniques as only happening for a moment, maybe during a guitar solo. But there's ways of which you can use them to compose, and it's no longer a little flashy trick during a lead. It's actually like something you've used for a composition.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about technique in general, you know.
You got new tools, and it's like give you different dynamics, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Open up your musical ideas in a different way.
Totally.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the selective picking came out of the slap stuff. Let me see. So that same approach, a lot of times I'm hammering on a note and then doing the other 2 or 3 or 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's first the left hand attacks, then the right hand comes in, and that's very. Most of the time we play guitar, we're synchronized. So I took that same approach and just. Just start doing it with a pick. So like, I didn't really invent this. I think like the Wooten brothers, Reggie and Victor Wooten, kind of really. This is where I feel like it came into the public sphere. These are the guys who took this technique. But I feel like I haven't seen many people take it outside of that context. So I think for me, doing it in progressive metal and whatever you want to call my music is just doing the technique justice, because like I think there's so much ground you can get out of that way of playing. So.
That's cool, actually. I was actually trying a little bit for fun, you know, like, but you know, maybe I'll get some time to actually try it, practice it, and you know, you gotta do you have to have nails to do it?
It helps to have a little bit of nails.
Yeah. Okay.
But that looks pretty legit just now. You're slapping.
Yeah, I have actually tried it, messing around with it. When I borrowed that guitar, the 8-string, I've been kind of like doing a little bit of it. Like,
did it work?
Well, not good enough for me to show in public yet, but I'm gonna try that, and I'm actually gonna have a look into that selective picking stuff, because after making how many DragonForce albums of so many guitar solos, you're kind of like, oh man, how am I going to make another solo? It's so difficult to record an album. That many solos,
especially this deep into your career.
Yeah,
you know, you don't want to just be repeating yourself. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I actually asked Thomas McLaughlin, who has his school of McLaughlin, give me a login. I'm going to go check it out. I want to get some ideas. You can't, you know, people might find it weird for me to say this. It's like, well, but if we all learn and we're still learning.
Oh, dude, I go online to learn guitar stuff all the time. Andre Nieri has amazing, you know, instructional content. Andy Wood has incredible content. This guy, Hristo Vichev, has like really cool exercises for learning just voicings of, you know, major scale, contrary motion. But yeah, I became, you know, a YouTube student, you know? I'm going on Jam Track Central or YouTube or whatever, and I'm finding guitar players who are doing cool things, and I'm buying their instructional stuff. Because like you said, it's like, we could always learn, and honestly, like, it might seem weird to some of our fans that we might actually be trying to learn from other guitar players, but I think it never stops.
Yeah,
honestly.
It's actually very important, I think, for anyone playing the guitar now. If you think it's a competition, it isn't. You know, we have to learn from each other. We push each other's, you know, boundaries in all kind of different ways. You know,
and there's so much talent in the world. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just every time I open up my Instagram, I'm seeing some amazing guitar player. Every time I go on YouTube, there's some amazing guitar player.
Yeah,
and I just think it's awesome. You know, when we were younger, it's like your local music store, you know, maybe has like a big name artist who did some instructional stuff, and you buy that one video or that one book, and you sit and you learn everything in that. And then maybe a few months later you get another one, but now it's like all of it is just instantaneously accessible online. So if you play guitar, you have no excuse. Anything you want to possibly learn, any scale, any musical concept, even with recording, there's free software, there's tutorials. It's a beautiful time. Yeah.
It's all out there. Don't feel too proud to learn from someone else. If you think you're really good, that's the kind of the worst thing you can think about, right? At the guitar, if you think you're good, like, if you think you're really good, better than anyone else.
It's kind of complicated because like people are also really hard on themselves, and they actually might be doing well, but they think they suck because they go and they see John Bertucci play on the internet, and they're like, oh, I'll never be that guy. And I think there's a balance of acknowledging that you are progressing, and then what you said, when you think you're good, that might be a type of pitfall because you think you don't have anything to learn. So you have to balance the beginner's mind state with a healthy mental attitude towards your own progress, so you don't quit. So don't give up, but also there's always someone better.
There's always someone better.
What does it even mean, better? You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a competition, and we can't be good at everything. You know, some people are just so good at one technique that you'll never be as good as them.
Oh, it's crazy.
So don't only how many hours you got to practice something, so you can only create the best of you.
Well, it's funny. I feel like I read a Steve Vai interview where he was kind of saying something that is different than what I normally hear, where it's like work on your weaknesses. He was kind of saying to work on your strengths. He's like, take what you do well and get really good at that, you know, because a lot of the iconic players we know are actually like, they're not doing everything under the sun. They have like a pretty specific range of how they play, and they have developed that over time to be a master at that particular thing. And I think as young players, we look at like, oh, I should be able to play jazz and country and, you know, solo and also playing the metal. And I understand why you think you should be that thorough, but, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan wasn't playing over, giant steps at 300 beats per minute, but he was a great guitar player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, that makes sense to me what you just said about Steve Vai, because I feel like, at least for myself, I look at myself as a guitar player. I'm not good at cover songs. I'm really terrible at doing cover songs. I always mess it up because I don't want to do what's on the structure of what a cover song is. And it's like, okay, when we did DragonForce, it's like we just try to do the best version of what we can do, like improve what we do in our style.
Right.
And there's only, if I learn so many styles, somehow it might dilute. It doesn't, right? You can go both ways. Yeah? You can learn a lot of different style, like a lot of the people that go to guitar school. They can play jazz, they can do fusion, they can do rock, they can do everything. Big pop, they learn everything. But sometimes if there's so much information like that, you kind of end up you don't have one you.
Yeah.
And some people are able to take all that and make their one special sound, right?
Yes.
So it's like, I feel like I wasn't the guy that going to be able to play all the different styles and be good at them.
Mm-hmm.
I can play badly each of those ones.
Yeah. But why do you want to?
Yeah.
No, I'm similar. Where it's more about authentically having a strong sense of identity on the instrument as opposed to wearing a different hat per day of the week. Where, I'll grab my Telecaster. You need some bluegrass today? Oh, okay, cool. I'll grab my. There are dudes who are great at that. They're doing a lot of session work and they're doing soundtracks and they're doing. But like, you founded a band that has a specific sound and you have a specific voice, and there's value to that. Arguably, dare I say more, because learning how to emulate a style is different than creating a style.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than having an identifiable, I hear a few notes and I know who it is. I've always been attracted to that. So I totally feel you.